Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 7 of Nick's Big Pumpkin 2024. This is the first real pumpkin-centric episode, which I'm very happy to say. We've been looking too much at plants, in my opinion. So, we've got a ton to talk about. I'll try to condense it. Firstly, shout out to viewer Kevin James. He's a longtime viewer. He comments, and I appreciate it. He decided to name plant A Jeremy. So, here's the news about Jeremy. Jeremy has passed on to another life. The story behind that is very sad, and I'll let past Nick tell you all about that. I just got back from a 2-day work trip in New York City, and I came back to pretty much exclusively horrible news. So here's what's going on. All right, so firstly, this was the last possible pollination with Matt DeBacco's 2287. Because he no longer has male flowers. His plant is totally filled up. It's allotted space. And I came back. It is spongy and soft, and it is not grown. You can see the blossom end rotting. This is done. This is aborted. Other than that, I haven't really looked at this plant too much. Looks generally okay. I just got to do a lot of pruning. The other plant was where there's extremely bad news. We'll go take a look at that. Initially, I noticed this. Some really wilted, unhealthy looking leaves that I just wrote off to sunburn. Then I looked in, and even some of these leaves that are under the shade netting and have lots of, fans around it and everything, they are also looking essentially dead. Stump looks nice and dry and healthy, but then you look past it and most of these guys of the leaves right after the stump are dead. And I think I see why. One sec. All right, yeah, just as I thought, about 3 feet past the stump, this is the main vine. I'd fully buried it, which I now majorly regret because this is 100% gone. This is totally rotted through. I'm so upset that I'm pretty much just numb. I don't even feel upset. My mom says she's gonna be hopeful because it's green, but I don't think she's seen the fact that the main vine is 70% of the way rotted through. I have a way to avoid that in the future. There's something that I'm gonna do. So this is not this is yet another thing where it's well, now I know. And you'll see that next year. But from now on, we just gotta pray that this other plant survives. I'm probably gonna go completely uncover the main vine too. Just gotta keep going. So yeah, that's what happened to Jeremy. Pretty unfortunate. Basically, it's just because I buried the vines, and then also we had really horrible weather. So in the future, I'm gonna experiment with not burying vines. We have one plant now. Look at this gigantic monster of a plant. This is probably more than 1,000 square feet now, because the whole patch is about 1,800. I'm letting the vines crawl into the area where Jeremy used to be. Feels weird calling it Jeremy because we didn't have history like that really, But whatever, he's Jeremy. Posthumously, I think. Like I said, this is a pumpkin episode. We've got 2 pumpkins on here that I'm gonna show you. Oh, and also you may notice there's no shade netting on here. I felt like it was creating a really good environment for powdery mildew because the shade netting was 6 inches above the leaves. So there wasn't much air circulation. The black shade netting was getting all warm. So I feel like it was just creating a warm, humid environment. I'm gonna use shade netting in the future though. I think it's really good stuff. I'm just gonna do it higher. I have a plan for next year. You guys will see that. But it'll be much higher. Instead of 6 inches above the plant, it'll be 6+ feet above the plant. All right, let's take a look at a pumpkin. Oh, cucumber beetle on the pumpkin. We got some bad guys. Hate to say it, but there's bad guys crawling everywhere. All right, so this was an open pollination. All of my pollinations with good genetics that I actually purposefully crossed, all aborted or failed. So I let this one go. This is the last possible pollination that I could get on the main vine. You can tell it's gonna be a beautiful orange. Well, it would have been a beautiful orange because it's this color of yellow right now. There's a big, nasty crack right here, and it had some rot in it. Really didn't like that. So you may think, oh, it's superficial, it's only in that little crack. There's a huge percentage of a chance that that's slowly creeping its way into your pumpkin, and then one day it's gonna stop growing, and then a week later, you're gonna come out and you're gonna go, huh, why is there a squishy spot on my pumpkin? And it'll be dead. For that reason, this cannot be the one. So you may be wondering, why did I allow it to get this big? This is probably 80 to 100 pounds, probably 80. The reason is pumpkin plants are really pressurized. I was having a lot of issues with setting a baby pumpkin on this huge plant, and they would just immediately split. So what I needed to do was allow the pressure to kind of go into a bunch of different routes. And that's basically what this is. It's a sink for all the pumpkin juice. So while I was letting my more hopeful keeper set, I just let this one sit, and every couple of days I would come and I would take a big wedge out of the stem to slowly cut off its supply of pumpkin juice. So I'm 2/3 of the way cut through there, and today we're gonna go through the last third. I remember last year I had some dramatic, or 2 years ago I had some dramatic speech about the timelines and cutting it, and now we're in this definite timeline. But this one is just done. That crack, it was just bad enough that it's over. So it's not really too dramatic taking this off. There is, of course, a chance that once we do cut through this, the pressure does change enough that we split our nice keeper over there. But I think I did this gradually enough, and the one over there is big enough that our chances of that are minimized. So, shall we? We'll sever this timeline here. Boom. So, always wondered about this. There's like this little stringy tail always in the cavity of the stem. I don't know, maybe we'll ask Matt about that. What part of the anatomy that is, why there has to be a stringy bit. There's another little cull. It's a good shape. Generally, longer pumpkins do well. Like,
it's a little leaking juice.
Yeah,
I was gonna take a sip out of that.
Oh, I bet it would have been refreshing too. Sorry about that.
Coconut juice.
Like Jamie Graham's 2480. That was like long, it was cylindrical, and it grew out really nice and heavy. Here it is. Here is the one. Like I said, it's August 1st. So this got pollinated July 20th-ish. It was an open pollination, so I'm not totally sure. But it was the 20th of July, plus or minus a day. So that would mean this is 12, DAP 12, DAP, days after pollination 12. So firstly, the outer layer, this is like the fabric that they make laundry bags out of. Basically, it's just insect, critter, and minor shade protection. Then we have our card table. Obviously, that's just for shade. And finally, the reveal. I'm gonna try to not chip it while I'm taking it off. That is what we're working with right now. And so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm a man who believes in jinxing. Something happened in the last few years of my life where I started believing in jinxing more. So I don't like saying stuff like, oh, this looks so good. The stem is really long. The stem is like 6 inches long and thick. Theoretically, that's good, right? Lots of juice going in. It could bend around and be flexible. That's really good. It's on a secondary, which is fine. The world record was grown on a tertiary. So people like growing on the main vine, but generally speaking, it seems like it's fine if you don't grow on the main vine. These used to be frozen. This morning, these 3 bottles frozen, and I'm gonna put them back in the freezer for tomorrow, because today and tomorrow are gonna be 90 degrees, 91. Pumpkins hate extreme heat, over 86 degrees, and they start to get unhappy. Matt says that they are the texture of warm butter when they're this age, and that's extremely true. I have no memory of doing this, but you can see a little fingernail touch mark. Basically, if you touch this with anything harder than like soft human skin, even that, if your finger is dirty, you'll scratch this thing up. You can see here I have a steak with pool noodle attached right here to keep the vine up basically at the same level as the attachment point to the pumpkin, because I want to keep everything here loose and we don't want pressure causing splits in here. There's a huge chance that I don't even make it to 80 days, but I'll do everything in my power to get us there, because I feel like I owe it to a lot of people. If this thing all failed, I would be totally fine, but I would feel bad because, you know, Matt has helped me out so much. Ron gave me this plant. Steve Connolly helped me out in a moment of desperation. Like, it would feel pretty bad. I'm just going to very gently inch this over so that the vine is more nicely aligned with the stem. We want to do this little bit by little bit. I'll do maybe 2 inches today and 2 inches tomorrow since it'll be so warm. Oh, and I named it. Sorry, that one wasn't democratic. And also, Jordan, he's helped out many times. He pretty much came up with the name. I came up with the shortened nickname version of it. I said I was a man who believes in jinxing. He said to name it the pumpkin that will surely die. And I said, I like that. We can call her Shirley for short. So everyone, I hope you like Shirley. We'll get her little mini fan going on her blossom end again, because we want to keep that blossom end dry and clean.
Mine too.
All right, cool. Sure, I'm missing something, but I've been talking for way too long. Basically, we're just waiting for disaster. Hello, everybody. Quite an unfortunate video has to be made here because it is being liquefied by Fusarium. So, come on into the chaos and I'll show you what's up. A classic little indicator of a Fusarium infestation is this, the leaves going dusty and dead on you. But mainly what we don't like is that it infests the vines. Oh man, you can see right here, there is pretty much nothing left to this vine. It just got turned to mush. A lot of little holes in this, those are the phloem or the xylem, I forget, but those are the little tubes that all the water goes through. And they're kind of discolored, they're brownish yellow, which means the Fusarium has gotten to them. Ugh. Yeah, now I'm seeing this gunk coming out of that link between the main and the secondary. So I guess we'll kind of just leave it at that. So at this point, Shirley is basically just sustaining off of one side vine that is almost certainly inundated with Fusarium already. We got a bunch of powdery mildew. Pretty much things have totally fallen apart, and for all intents and purposes, the season is over. As of now, I suppose the plan is hope that this one side vine is enough to sustain her for a while, remove everything else, and maybe we'll make it to the Woodstock Fair, which is in like 2 weeks. Yeah, it's all kind of doom and gloom out here, but the good news is I have plenty of ways in mind to prevent this next year. So it's just another little bump in the road. definitely learned a ridiculous amount, met a lot of people. So let's go look at the pumpkin. As of now, she's kind of an alive pumpkin on a dead plant. Her DAP 20 measurement was 144 pounds, which is pretty damn good. We'll prune off these leaves that are covering her so that we can get a better look. I've had these fans going 24/7 for weeks and weeks now, and that's kind of that. I'm turning them off. I'm sure the electricity bill will be a lot more reasonable now. I'll show you guys the surgery that I did. A whole lot of nastiness was taking root. So I split it open to expose it to the air, had 2 fans running on it, dusted it with sulfur, which just produces an environment that fungus really hate. Yeah, but it's really just too little too late. It's like, it's done for all intents and purposes. It's difficult. Having spent all of this time and effort and being so invested in something, and to have it fall apart, that's pretty much it in terms of all high effort pumpkin growing goes for 2024. But I'll let you guys know what happens in terms of the fate of Shirley, the pumpkin that will surely die. And thank you guys very much for watching. I promise 2025 is gonna be nuts. You're not gonna believe how hard I'm gonna go. So yeah, good luck everybody else for the rest of the season. I hope to see some people at weigh-offs and see what you guys did. Thanks, guys. So yeah, this is the end of Shirley the Giant Pumpkin. The plan is I'm gonna sever her right now, and in 6 days I'm gonna bring her to the Woodstock Fair, if she makes it. She seems pretty solid, so I'm hoping she can make it until then. Shirley, the pumpkin that will surely die. All right, we're at the Woodstock Fair. We got Shirley to the weigh-off. I'm thinking she'll be about 200, but we'll have to see. I'm just happy to get here.
Same concept, typically pick the highest point of that tall ridge, or just go right down there.
Ooh!